In this section, I want to talk about different versions of REP, and it is very easy to guess what they mean. REP version 1 is a classful routing protocol. So if you send an update to the other router, it will not receive it unless it is a classful update. For example, I have 1110 on router 1. As you know, network 1 is a class A network. That means the default mask for it is 8 bits. So it is actually is 1000/8. And if I send this classlessly, that means 1110/24, router 3, for example, is not going to accept this if it is configured with version 1. So let me show you this in action. Let me go to router 3 first of all. And here you can see that, let me open IP rep configuration. If I go to routes, you can see that I am receiving this classlessly 1110/24. And now I want to show you, if I go to interface, and the interface neighboring to router 1 is Ethernet 1. If I add interface Ethernet 1 here and change the send and receive to version 1 and click on OK and go back to routes, now I see some additional networks here. For example, 4000. After some time I'm going to receive 2000/1000. That's because I am just receiving this version. And as you can see, these classless IP addresses are not going to be refreshed, and they are going to timeout. Let me go to router 1 and change the configuration here as well. If I go to routing, go to rep, and these are my networks. Now I want to go to interface Ethernet 1. That is the interface neighboring router 3. Change the send and receive to version 1. Click on OK. After some time on router 3, I can receive the classful IP addresses. I need to wait for a maximum of 30 seconds for the refresh to happen. But as you can see, the classless IP addresses are not, IP prefixes are not refreshed. Now this is the summary address that I have received. So why is this a summary? This is not my major network. The major network is the network between these two routers. So if I have a non-major network, that is the network outside of this segment between these two routers, for example, the loopback interface of router 3, this is going to be summarized and sent to the other side if it is using version 1. Now you can see that 10.10.13 is not going to be summarized. As you can see, this is here, and because this is a major network, it is not summarized. But this one is not my major network. This is going to be summarized and sent to the other router if I am using version 1. But if I am using version 2, if I go and change the configuration to version 2 or version 1 and 2, on both sides I need to do this. I need to go to router 1 and do this here as well. By changing to version 2, now there is no major or minor or anything outside of major network. Any network is going to be sent classlessly with the subnet mask that you have configured for that network. For example, 3330 is going to be sent to router 1 as 3330, not a summary of that in a classful manner. So this is one difference of version 1 and version 2. The other difference is this. Version 1 sends the updates as broadcast. Version 2 sends the update as multicast using 224.009, I guess. So this is the second difference between version 1 and version 2, and you need to be aware of these differences. But you know that most of our routers support version 2, so we do not need to configure the versions between different routers. Let me go back to router 3 and check the routes. As you can see, Now I have 1111 and it is getting refreshed, and this time the summary is not refreshed and everything is working just fine.